Hi, Mark here from the Tangent-Bound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangent-Bound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangent-Bound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangentBoundNetwork.com and see if Tangent-Bound Network is right for you.
We're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals of any kind, so if you feel you do need help, please reach out and get the help you need. We have a whole list of things on our files page over on Facebook at facebook.com/crazylifepodcast, and or just search on the internet for the suicide prevention hotline number, or go to NAMI.org or whatever resource you can find. But just please reach out for help if you need it. If you feel as though you're going to harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. And try not to be alone. Also, if you feel that way and you realize that you're writing a note or making plans of how you would do, like harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. That's a huge red flag. And lastly, please do not replace the idea of therapy with listening to this show. Again, if you need help, please reach out and get the help that you need, or contact us. We can try to help you find the help that you need.
A life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. A life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. Then you'll see the clouds every day. Then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everyone. My name's Jen. I am your hostess for the evening. And with me, as always, we have Brian and Hedo. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Tentative man in the house.
Yeah. I just basically sneeze on mic. That's showing how professional I am.
Nice.
It's all right. When we did Salty Language...
the love, not the COVID. Quit sneezing on the mic.
When we did Salty Language the other night, I completely forgot my intro. So...
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. I've been in a real brain fog because I've had to keep taking migraine medicine. And the stuff, it seems to work okay for me, but unfortunately it also kind of it makes me kind of drowsy. So I get that like post Benadryl brain feeling.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's made me more forgetful than normal. And yeah, but it's either that or migraine. So it's not a difficult decision. Yeah. So I guess since I'm already talking, I guess I can just go ahead and go into my week, I guess. So, because, we recorded on my birthday last week, and then since then I've had a decent amount of migraines. That's pretty awesome. The last few weekends, I think weekends have become my arch enemy, because the last couple of weekends I've either been dealing with migraines and or my back flaring up. So that's pretty cool. I didn't really do anything, but Saturday my back was just spasming So I didn't take any migraine pills that day, but I had to take a muscle relaxer, which I don't do unless I absolutely can't, like it just won't stop. So I had to do that. And again, sleepy time. So most of the day Saturday, I was just in bed sleeping. So yeah, I really need to, focus on back stretching and that kind of stuff that I've gotten lax about. I was doing it for a long time and you feel good, so you quit doing it because, we all know once you feel good, you don't have to maintain anything. You just keep going. It's like muscles. Once you build them, you never have to work out again. You just
Up the coast.
totally
Yeah.
maintain it from there. Yeah, you just,
Totally coasted out.
yeah, right.
Sure.
So yeah, I need to get back to that. It's that, or I need to maybe, go see a chiropractor to kind of, if nothing else, to make me focus on my back. Because at least when I'm there, they'll work on my back. So at least I know somebody's working on it. But yeah, that's kind of stunk. Not gonna lie. But it's, other than that, it's been pretty decent. Most of the days were pretty good. And trying to think what else I've done. I haven't, like normal, there hasn't been much to go do, so I haven't really done a whole lot. I've been playing video games, and my laptop battery is slowly dying, so I haven't been on my computer a whole lot. I pretty much just jump on it to do podcasts, and then as soon as I'm done posting that stuff, it's right back off of it, because I don't want to kill the battery. I'm sitting at, I think, 50% now. Yep, I'm at 50%. So it's draining slow. Luckily, it's not, I have it plugged in, and I do think that's preventing the death of it. But it's a matter of for how long, and, hopefully I'll get my new battery soon, and this won't be a problem. But, what can you do on it? All I can do is wait on the battery. Hope. So, yeah, I went and got groceries yesterday, but I've gotten to where I finally completely have given in to the whole, I'm just going to go pick them up. I was fighting it for a long time because I'm just weird like that. Like, when there's a convenience like that kind of thing, most of the time I'm like, I can go get the groceries. It's not a big deal, And now it's like, you know what, though? I can just order them. We just go pick them up, and it's done. I don't have to deal with people in the store. I don't have to be frustrated because a bunch of people are walking around with their masks under their chin and getting too close to me. Like, those things irritate me. And much like with anything, when you have, any sort of rage issues, it's like, if you can find ways to kind of avoid the things that trigger you, it makes things a lot nicer.
True.
We show up, we wait 5 minutes. Yep. Here's your groceries. Have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I think, especially right now, because during like, the COVID stuff, they've waived the fee for, the pickup, which was only $5 anyway. And when and again, to me, $5 is worth, the hassle that I'm saving. So that's, I finally got my head set on that, which I don't know why stuff like that. I'm always like about it, but
You grumpy old man.
Yeah. Well, it isn't the money, it's more of I think it's just more of I'm physically able, so I'm going to, but it's like, but that service isn't just there for like people who aren't physically able. That service is just there regardless.
Right.
So why, and like I said, it saves me a lot of hassle. So I really think it's worth it. Even at $5, it's worth it. It wouldn't surprise me if at some point that, when they start charging again, it wouldn't surprise me if the price goes up a little bit on it. because they've had so many people doing it right now. And again, mostly probably because it's free. You can avoid going in the store. But it's smart, too, because it keeps them from having a lot of people in the store.
Yeah.
Right now, so, yeah, I went out last night with Tony, and the place we went to, we sat out on the patio, and again, we lucked out, and basically there was nobody on the patio the whole night, so that was awesome. We were told by the server that they were having trivia inside the place, though, and apparently it was people were cramming in a little too much in there. Not all the booths were filled. They still did the every other, but the ones that they have bigger booths in the place, and people were full up in that one. Because, the whole team shows up for trivia, and it's 8 people or whatever. And, I was like, the place should probably put a limit on that kind of thing. Like, hey, no more than this many people or something, but whatever. I was just glad we were outside, because if that had started to fill up like that and we were inside, we easily would have been like, see ya, because nope.
Yeah, you don't want to stick around in that.
No. So, yeah, but it was nice. It was really nice out anyway, so it was cool sitting out on the patio. Excuse me. It was weird, though, because, where we went was over by a college, and they've got those, rentable scooters over there. And just keep seeing people just zipping through the parking lot on those. And my guess, honestly, was, because there were a few times I saw the same people, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're the ones that are going to collect them to recharge them. Because, all of those services, they pay people to collect them and charge them. So it wouldn't surprise me, you're a college kid living there. It's, a way to make a few extra bucks, I guess. So, yeah. But yeah, I got some pizza. I haven't had pizza in a while, which is weird for me. And ate way too much, but it was worth it. And, so yeah, we had a good time. The part that stinks is last week was the week of my birthday. I had you, Jen, our friend Jeannie, and Tony all were like, hey, we need to go out for your birthday. And I canceled on, well, I didn't cancel on you. I just never scheduled a day with you. But the other two I canceled on and still had to reschedule. So it was, it's one of those, I hate that. It's like, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's one of the migraine commercials or migraine medicine commercials where the whole theme of the commercial is basically the person like, hey, I can't. And then basically their point of the medicine is like, so you can actually be there kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I like that they're showing that message because they're showing the frustration of the person who's canceling, because it really is. It's not something most of us want to do. It's just, and luckily, people I know are understanding and whatever because, what am I going to do? You can't, you can't go. But it's still something I hate doing. I've always hated it. And Jen, you've been around me enough times when I've canceled. It bothers me a lot to cancel, but, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, it's a necessity for me, unfortunately. And, hopefully this week will be better. 'Cause
I hope so. Maybe with the weather settling down a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of it was over the last week. Even though it wasn't really up and down, it's just during the first real kind of change of the season, I usually get hit pretty hard, whether it's my allergies or my sinuses or both.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it was. My back, I have no idea other than I think it's just a lack of stretching. Because it's one of those, your hamstrings get so tight that it tightens everything up through your back. And I think it's just, wasn't getting enough stretching. Because I'm not going out walking. I'm not, doing any of that kind of stuff because of whatever. So I got to really, like I said, crack down on using my roller and doing some, doorway stretches and whatever to kind of loosen my back up. So. Anyway, so that's what I got, I think. So how about whoever goes next?
I'll go next. Yeah, so it's been pretty standard week, It's not a whole bunch going on because of everything going on in the world, of course. But let's see. So basically just work. I'm getting ready to go on vacation. I'm going down to Florida. So I'm getting everything settled with that and making my lists and checking them twice. All the good stuff that you have to do when you're going on vacation.
Right.
And all the anxiety induced. Did I forget my socks? Did I forget? Ooh,
I'm
did I
laughing
forget
because
this?
I forgot socks on a trip once.
I know.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So I packed on Saturday so that I would have everything all set to go, and I can make sure that I can, forget anything that I can always add to it as I'm going type of thing. But
I think it's funny how people are about packing. Like, I am so paranoid I'm going to forget something, but I also am we're leaving in 10 minutes and I'm packing.
I pack days and days ahead of time so that I can make sure I have everything I need. If I don't have it, then I can always do my laundry, or I can go pick something up if I need to get something.
That's what's funny is you'd think with me being as paranoid as I am, you'd think I would pack like today or like a week ago. That way it's like the whole week I can check my list every day and make sure I didn't forget anything. But nope, I'm like 5 minutes before I walk out the door throwing everything in the bag.
Nope, I am down to toiletries and daily necessities is the only thing that I need to pack right now.
Yeah.
So
And that stuff's not even as big of a deal of the stuff you could forget, because you can always just go hit up a Target and grab toothpaste or soap or whatever you might need,
The only thing that I have to make sure that I don't forget, obviously, is my meds.
Right.
And they have, so that's my daily. I can't pack them ahead of time, but I got to make sure I don't forget them.
Yeah.
So doing all that jazz. I spent a little extra dollars to get upgraded as much as possible on the airline that I'm flying. So, I got the extra leg seats. I've got the priority boarding, the extra bags, all that stuff, so that all I have to do. So I'm making things as easy as absolutely possible.
Yeah.
I figured it's worth it to spend a few extra dollars just to make things nice and smooth. I don't have to stress. I don't have to have a lot of anxiety about it. It's just going to be a nice, easy flight.
Yeah. There is something to be said about that, right? It's like I was just saying, even with the groceries, it's even though it's not that big a deal to go in and get them myself and all this other stuff, it's like, but this way there's no stress to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there is something to be said for removing stress, like there is a dollar value that is worth it, as long as it's reasonable. It'd be different if it was like, 4 times the price of your ticket to get,
And that's the thing. I mean, I'm flying, my husband is going with me this trip, and it's worth it, if not to hear his griping, basically.
Oh, I understand, because
I'll be completely honest with you, folks. I always am. If it makes him happy, it's worth the extra dollars.
Right.
Normally, I don't spend quite as much when it's just me flying, but with him, I'm like,
Yeah. Well, that's like me. If I were going to fly, I would do that stuff because I have so many stressors of my own, let alone any outside stressors. So if I can eliminate any outside stress, it's like, my anxieties and different stuff are going to be on the, on edge. So it would be worth it to eliminate that anyway. So I understand that. Yeah.
This make life easier. So we've got that coming up, and I've been kind of preparing for that. And I did go to see my psychiatrist, and it was interesting because he actually had a student with him this time.
Mm.
And they, of course, they asked me ahead of time if
Yeah.
I'd minded the student sit in. And of course I didn't. I'm like, that's fine. So she sat in and listened, and we covered a lot of stuff. The interesting part, because I couldn't remember the exact day I saw him last time, but it was June 29th when I saw him the last time.
Mm.
June 30th is when my brother-in-law passed away.
Oh, yeah, right.
It was right after.
Mhm.
And so I hadn't seen him since. And so he asked me, and was like, how you doing? And I said, well, and we backtracked a bit. And he's like, yeah, that was like the day after. And I'm like, yeah. We talked about that, and we talked about different things. I did tell him I went off the meds.
Mhm.
Did go over. He's like, we have talked at length about this. I'm like, I know we have.
But like I said last week, that's the sign. That's what you want to hear. Because if he just shrugged it off like, oh, well, no big deal, that's more concerning, because he should see it as a big deal for various reasons. But, so I'm glad he reacted that way, because that's how he should react.
He's like, we have talked about this many times at length. I'm like, I know. He's like, there are 3 different types of medicine. There's preventative medicine. There's, he's like, there's preventative medicine. There's maintenance medicine. And then there's a 3rd type of medicine. And the 3rd type of medicine is to not maintain, because we already covered maintain. Oh, see, I'm going to forget what he even told me. But anyways, the whole point behind it is my medicine is there as the safety net.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you can go off your medicine and you can feel great for a while.
Yeah.
But it will be there and it will come back. And because you've been on the medicine, you're not going to be prepared for it. And it's going to come back and it's going to be bad. And it's going to be worse than what you remember it and worse than what you expect, because you're not used to it. So taking the medicine is just it's not taking the medicine is a giant gamble.
Right.
And he's like, and you don't know if it's going to be depression. You don't know if it's going to be mania. It's like, you can't tell exactly what it's going to be, but you know it's going to be something.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Wow.
And you have no idea what you're going to be in the middle of.
Right. Now, this is, and I don't want this to seem like an I told you so, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. But this was why I mentioned that you should tell him that you went off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, first of all, then he can always do his job better, because you're being forthright. But also something like that, that's something that I don't know if you had known that or would consider, but it's something I didn't think of or wouldn't consider. So, there's always that potential for learning in that as well, that it ends up being worth it, even though no one wants to get the lecture. It's sometimes there's information in there that you're like, oh, okay. Kind of like, when your parent tells you to do something and you're just like, about it. And then you do it and they're like, this is why I told you.
So we had a good discussion and stuff. And he's like, but why? Why did you need to do this?
Right.
And I said, well, and I told him why. I needed to test my skills, my coping skills and stuff like that. And, see how far I've come.
I wonder because you mentioned on here that, you've done this before where you've had the same feelings that you wanted to see where you were and whatever and gone off your medicine or whatever. But I wonder if there's an element, because this is one of those fuzzy areas, when you have any sort of a mental health situation, sometimes you kind of hit a point where you're like, is this the depression or is this whatever? Like this. Okay, one of the key things of bipolar is making bad decisions. Like that line gets blurred of what's a good versus bad, and your justification. And depression can also blur those lines. So I kind of wonder if that has anything to do with it, as kind of a back of the head type of thing, or if it's just like the norm type of a thing. You know what I mean? Like it makes me wonder, because I've done it with my medicines to where I'll think of it too. And like my psychiatrist told me at one point, you know, he was kind of like, you know, there's a chance that's the depression trying to basically win. Because if you're not on the medicine, it wins, kind of a thing. You know, so your brain kind of sabotaging itself. I kind of wonder, like, I don't know, obviously, but it's just something I wonder about. Because, like I said, making bad decisions can be such a symptom of bipolar, like, flare, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, anyway. But I'm glad you had a really good talk with him.
But yes, so we had a good talk, and he's like, okay, we're moving forward. Because he's not a talker.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Well,
you know, he keeps the appointment tight, and he keeps us on target and on focus.
From what I've noticed,
talk.
That seems pretty normal for psychiatrists, unless you're going to a psychiatrist for a therapy reason.
Right.
Most of them are, like you said, they're focused on how are you today, how are the medicines, and moving forward, kind of a thing. At least from my experience, I'm making that very, very, you know, stark here. People may obviously have different experiences. I'm just going by the 3 that I've been to have all been that kind of person. Their personalities have been different, but their agenda essentially has been the same.
Mm-hmm. Because he always offers me recommendations for therapists and stuff if I want to talk and stuff. And I've never taken him up on it. He did mention a place that I wanted to throw out there for everybody. Pulling up the name now because I made sure I wrote it down. It is Talkspace, which I think you've mentioned on here before, Brian.
Yeah, that's an app, right? Yeah, that's an app if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, it is an app. And he recommends if you are having trouble getting into a therapist or getting on schedule to see a therapist right now because of how busy they are.
Yeah.
Definitely check out Talkspace. So there's a little plug for them. Other than that,
actually,
reached the 25.
Sorry, I was going to say, it looks like they have a website, so I'll have a link to the website in the notes and stuff. Now, just for the record, it is not free, but anyway, moving on.
There supposedly is either insurance help with it or some way of getting a discount. So we don't know how it works. So look it up. But all that good jazz. So I've reached the 25-pound down mark. So I've lost 25 pounds now. So still going strong. Good. Things are going well. Not so going well at the gym. But the diet is going well, so we'll take half win there.
No. That's a full win. So you can take them all individually, but don't discount the one because there's a lot of people that would I'm not going to the gym, and then they would also fall. Fall back into old habits with their eating. So if you're staying on track with what you're doing there, that's still a big, big win. That so don't discount that. Thank
you. Yeah, and one of my nurses at the doctor's office, when I showed up for my appointment, we've seen each other for years and years, and she stopped. She's like, she's like, do you have an appointment? I'm like, yeah, I've got 4:30 with doctor, and she's like, oh, okay. And she looked at me, and I'm like, Genevieve, and she stopped, and she's like, wait a minute, you don't look like you. I had my mask on, and I'm like, me a mask and stuff. She's like, you lost weight, and I'm like, yeah, I did, and we talked a few minutes about it. But I'm like,
awesome. I just like the wording of it, is why I was laughing. You don't look like you.
She's like, you don't look like you.
Yeah, awesome.
So that was really nice compliment. So that was pretty awesome.
Cool.
So other than that, that's been my week so far. So how about you, Hanno?
Let's see. I've had an entertaining week at work.
That sounds ominous.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, especially when your employer just manages to violate everyone's ADA privacy.
Oh, jeez.
And even after you bring it up, they do it some more.
Oh no.
And then other employees start calling everybody in the world about it, thereby proving why you're not supposed to do this.
Yep.
Oops.
Goodness.
I know. It was just unbelievable. Then when my one coworker who's managed to get himself in the middle of all of it asked me, like, what do I do? And I just did the old, like, well, does it need to be said?
Mhm.
Well, all right, how about this? Does it need to be said by you? Well, probably not. Does it need to be said by you right now? And he goes, no. I'm like, then don't say anything.
Yeah.
If you want to be helpful, let our dear coworker know that maybe they should phrase it this way on Thursday morning when they don't come to work.
Right.
But literally, it's just amazing after all the discussions I've had in the last, let's just say 3 weeks about our office dynamics, that to see both the affirmation of dysfunction and why, and for all the reasons, on top, but at the same time, as a paradox, some people stepping up that haven't really stepped up in the past. And that felt really good. And like, on one hand, seeing the teamwork that I've longed for or said could solve so many problems, seeing that happen, at the same time you're seeing utter just stupidity, I guess, or
Oh, geez.
I don't even know what it is. It's just dysfunctional. Like, it was so funny. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah. And in the end, hopefully nobody is going to be hurt significantly by what happened.
Okay, that's good at least.
That's the good news. If we don't learn from this, though,
Yeah. Sooner or later, it'll be a bigger deal.
Well, that's the whole thing. And that was the best part about it. At least it was a legitimate wake-up call that people who have been a little lackadaisical with their COVID prevention strategies suddenly woke up and said, oh, whoa. And it's unfortunate that it has to literally take a knock upside your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
By a virus that was like, I mean, one step away.
Jeez.
And it's looking like it's all going to be great, but it absolutely, by Tuesday, I understood exactly why this virus has blown up in this country by just seeing what happened in my immediate vicinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. But the good thing about it is, like, I really feel that the people that needed to step up stepped up a little bit more, and I think we needed that, and I know I did. I just needed to feel more that, I mean, communication is so darn important. It just is.
Yeah.
No matter what. And that brings me back to the one fun thing. It's funny listening. Not much is going on. Well, I got to play a gig. Woohoo!
Nice.
Yay!
It was so awesome. Yes, and it was great because it was outdoors in a huge field. We call it Festival Meadows, and it's massive. We've had full concerts there. Like boy, I could, boy, I am having a complete brain meltdown here. It's some really high-end blues musicians, but the one has got a like he sounds like he has a woman's name, and I'm completely spacing it. Anyhow, but we've had, like Steve Miller Band set up a huge stage one time after our big fires here locally. I mean, it was a massive concert. And so here it was Oktoberfest, couple of, food, beer, and then stage in between, and I got to bring all my stuff.
Right.
And there was but it was a wild Friday because my friends Hillary and Kiki and friends of our show, hi girls,
right? Hello.
They came up on Thursday night, and then Friday, pretty much right away in the morning, I was going to go help a friend with the computer. And then I told my mom to call me when she woke up because then I would help her with hers. Well, my mom couldn't sleep, so I just made coffee. I literally am like heading to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I look down. There's my mom calling. She's like, "Oh, I couldn't sleep. I thought I'd just call you now." And I'm like, because she also had computer issues. I'm like, okay, I'll go do this, And so I did that one. Run to the other side of town. Back, have a little bit of time to relax. Quick trip to the dogs. Next step. Replace the struts on the van, again, but this time with the right stuff. Did all that, loaded up the van to the brim with gear, headed up, set up. The whole band showed up early. Awesome.
Nice.
Started, and it's so funny how like I will tell them to do something and they start to interpret what I ask them to do. And I find this fascinating because they literally just say, and at some point they just stop and I'm like, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just keep going. It's sounding great. Oh, well, should we eat Bubba? I'm like, no, should nothing. Just keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
You're doing good.
Right.
It was so great. I'm out there. I'm like, this is great. Cause I've just been starved for that feel of just the energy and the music and guitars and drums. And so and everything was just coming together beautifully. And I had time. I did something that I've never done. I tend to put the band first, but in this case, I decided to put myself first. And I set up my bass before anybody showed up.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this right off the bat. So once those guys got set up, I plugged myself in, and we had a great concert. It was legit. It was a concert. It was awesome.
Very cool.
And so at the break, I put my iTunes on, just my iPod on. And I walked out into the audience. I was running over to the bathrooms, and I stopped for a second. I turned around, and it was just this massive wall of stereo and subwoofers and 5,000 watts of Yeah, and we crushed it. It felt really good. Yeah, it was awesome. And then, literally sun's down, black. We had a little bit of rain. Wasn't too bad, but just light. But pretty much we had a lot of wind while we were playing. But then we got done. It was like we got done and people had already started to leave, and they were getting a little it was more like a drizzle, like a light drizzle. And so put loaded everything up in the truck, and then got home, vegged, just recovery, because it was relatively early. We started at 5. Sure. And then Saturday, I did nothing.
You did it all the day before. Jeez.
Yeah, I was going to say.
At the end of the day, I was like, I did so much. I'm like, I'm done. Dogs went for a quick walk down to the school. That was it. And then the rest of the day, I played video games. I watched movies for Moving the Needle podcast, and just sat on the couch, took a nap in the afternoon for a couple of hours.
Nice.
And almost felt a little guilty, and then went, nope. I am not. Mm-mm. And when I woke up on Sunday morning, it was that great feeling of I woke up refreshed, ready for work, and I realized that was needed. When you have that next day where you like come to almost, and you're like, oh wow, I feel different than I did yesterday, like vastly different. Yeah. I needed that.
Yep. Well, like you said, or we said before, it's you found balance because the day before you found chaos, and the day after you found peace.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even at my work, when I went to work on Sunday, there were things I needed to get done. I continued to feel very productive at work, which is just so good for self-esteem and my desire to just keep doing it every day as needed. And I saw the chiropractor yesterday again. Very much needed. Just my boss was like, "Oh, is your back bothering you still?" And I looked at him. I'm like, "No, but there's no finish line. Like,
Wait, what?
like,
I
there's
thought we discussed this already. Like once you have it set, it's done.
Yeah, see, contrary to everybody else's opinion.
Huh.
Was that what Dr. Fauci said to Rand Paul today?
Yeah.
Like, counter to everybody. Like, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
That was a smackdown. I was like, ouch. Anyhow, it was good. It's been a pretty good week, and I've enjoyed myself. And
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
so glad to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
nice to have that. And so to keep the fun going,
Mhm.
our topic tonight is going to be something fun. It is the things therapists wish you didn't do during video sessions.
I'm going to say one of those things is talk to people who are not on camera. I'm just taking a
Oh
guess
man.
there. You know, like
Well,
your spouse, your children, your
Super
animals.
annoying. Yeah.
yeah, that would come under item number 4, intrusions.
I bet.
If you live with other people and there's a door behind you, kids or another adult might come in during the session. If the person quickly leaves, fine. If they glance at the screen, see me and say, "Is that your psychologist? Does he know we haven't had sex in 3 months?" Not so fine.
Wow. Dang. That's aggressive.
So
That's
good.
funny.
Wow.
So number 5. Any guesses? Any guesses? No?
Number 5, do not eat.
That's not on the list, actually.
Really? See, that would be one of my top ones, but
Number 5 is going to be pet anatomy. Dog on your lap during the session? Fine. Cat on your laptop keyboard? Not fine.
Right.
Oh my God. Yes, I can imagine.
As a therapist, it's important for me to see your face. I'd rather not have to look past your cat's butt to do it.
which leads me to what my guess was gonna be, which is, wear pants. But
Well, I think that kind of ties into number 2.
okay.
Toilet therapy.
Oh no.
Oh, jeez.
If the bathroom is the only place in which you have privacy for the session, sitting on the toilet is fine.
Right.
Flushing, not fine.
Or using such
no.
facility while on there. Good Lord. Or at least, if you have to, mute your mic before you flush. Although they're still going to see you reach back for the,
And saying,
Good
I was
gravy.
crying, so it's just tissues, doesn't make it less awkward. Just don't flush.
Seriously, throw them in a wastebasket or just hold on to them until you're done.
Wow.
Also, I don't think you're supposed to flush tissues anyway. You can, but anyway, whatever.
Right.
Just throw them
Okay,
away.
we got two more.
Oh my goodness.
Number 3 is that sinking feeling. Tablets and phones can slip if you just prop them up.
Oh.
For a therapist, being able to see you from the chest, shoulders up, great. Seeing you slowly sink in the frame until all I see is your forehead and ceiling, not so great. Please make sure your handheld device is in a stable position.
Oh, that's good.
All right, I have to share this. There's a woman at work that I don't know, because usually when you're doing the Teams meetings and stuff like that, video conferencing, there's a little camera and a picture of yourself in the corner.
Yeah.
You see everybody else, but you can see your little self. Well, I don't know whether she has it turned off or it's not working or what, but I guess all you can see on her screen is this much of her head, which no one can see, but you can see her eyes and her forehead, and that's it. So she's not a very tall woman to begin with, but for some reason she has her laptop at such an angle that all you see is her eyes and her forehead. Occasionally she'll lift her head up enough so you can see her mouth move, but that's about it.
Has anyone mentioned it to her?
I don't know. And
'Cause it's
honestly,
not-
I should, but
It's not a
I
big
can't.
deal kind of a thing. You just be like, hey, you realize we can't see you, right? Like,
You just see these very, very expressive eyes, and that's about it.
That is hilarious.
That's funny.
So, I'm sorry, I digress.
Wow.
It's quite all right.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And number 1 is car therapy. Doing the session from your car, no problem. Doing the session while you're driving in your car, problem.
Problem, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yes, you might be only 5 minutes from home, but please either pull over or just mute the video. Seeing cars whiz by outside your window while you keep glancing down at the phone is going to give me a freaking heart attack.
Yeah, I imagine.
Jeez.
Well,
no kidding. I mean, and on all the sessions that I've been in, one of the big things is being present.
Yes.
You have to be
Yes.
present. They need to be present.
Mhm.
And really be present in that moment for it to be effective. And if you're doing any of these other things at the same time, you're not actively engaging and actively involved in it. So don't waste your time, don't waste their time, and definitely don't waste your money, because it's, if you're going to put the effort in, make it worth it. Really make it count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, wow. It is interesting, like, with this list, because I'm sure there's so many more. Like the eating one, I'm sure should be on there, not just for people like me who have misophonia, but for just anyone. It's annoying to listen to someone eat, and no one wants to watch you eat, kind of a thing, So I would say that, and like you were just saying, Jen, it's like it's a distraction thing, focus. It's the same thing. I say the same thing about like podcasts. Like when there's someone eating on the podcast, unless it's a food podcast, it's like, why are you eating on the podcast? Your podcast is only like an hour. Like, seriously, eat before, or just wait until you're done and do it just for the audio, part of it. And God, I can't even imagine walking into therapy, and I'm sure people do it, but I can't imagine walking into a therapy session with like a bag of chips. And while we're talking, I'm just smashing chips while we're talking, but I'm sure people do it,
Yeah.
I guarantee somebody's done it. I've seen people. I saw a woman taking a bag of McDonald's into the doctor's office one day. Like, she was eating like her double cheeseburger and just took all of it with her into the appointment. So, if that's happening, she's probably thinking, I got enough time before the doctor comes in to smash the rest of this.
Oh my goodness.
But,
Gosh.
I mean, I would have probably wrapped it up and just put it back in the bag but no, she was just like, as she's walking, just crushing this burger, which, whatever. Maybe she's starving. Maybe she's diabetic and needs, to not crash or something. But I was just like, wow, all right. I had never seen it before. Generally, when people, for years and years, when people went to the doctor's office, you didn't used to see people even take like drinks in with them. Like even a bottle of water, you wouldn't see people really go into the doctor's office with. Now, half the people I see have coffee or a bottle of water that they're taking in with them, And I take water into therapy with me, because my mouth gets dry really quick. So if I'm talking for the better part of an hour, I need to have something to drink, But that's different. That's occasionally I open a bottle of water and take a drink, and then I put the bottle of water aside. I'm not sitting there. Like I said, I can't just imagine somebody sitting there with a bag of chips and rah, rah. But I'm surprised on that though too, that like dressing appropriately, really should be on that
I'm
list.
Sure, it's got to be a huge one too.
I read,
sure, but still, could you imagine the fact that, I mean, this wasn't just this. This is someone that was talking to his fellow therapist, and obviously driving in a car came up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
You gotta be kidding.
I don't doubt it.
It's on Zoom. when that, because I've done Zooms with a variety of different people.
Yeah.
And I don't mind if we're if you're Zooming from your car, because that's where you have your privacy from whatever. No problem. I have no problems with that.
Right.
Even car radio is playing a little bit. Okay, whatever. We'll deal with that. That's not a big deal.
That should be turned off. But yeah, you're right.
Don't be driving. Don't be driving and talk with us at the same time. It's like mute us, put us on video off.
That's the key.
Driving, and then stop.
Like if I was doing that, I would at least turn the video off so people wouldn't realize that I was driving while we were talking. Although, if you happen to be a road rage kind of person, that could give it away as well. But yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I can, because literally Tony and I did a podcast with someone who was she was driving while talking to us. So, I can't, it's not outside the realm of possibility, because it's so easy to do now that people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And these calls have become such a part of everyone's life that they're like, well, I can squeeze this in while I'm driving to this, and like that kind of stuff. So I can do two things at the same time. And the biggest reason, I mean, other than the safety part, of course, is like you said, Jen, that being present part of it. Because if you're doing something else, you're not, no matter what it is, our brains are not built to give 100% and do two things at the same time. That isn't how it works. People pretend like they can do two things at the same time well, but science doesn't seem to back that up. That basically you're, forgive the term, half-assing it without realizing that you are. So we're, especially therapy, like you think you'd want to put full effort into that.
Right?
Wow.
It's like, don't waste their time. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Oh, let me guess. My wife is home.
Henno, dang it. Henno's violating one of the rules right now. Jeez.
Right there, yeah. Dog.
There's a door behind him. Yep.
Door behind.
Yeah, actually, that's one that I could understand being a big thing too, is just the amount of people who are going to have pets on these calls. And some pets are loud, and frequently loud. And I can understand where that could be a real distraction to, the therapist as well. It's just one of those things that I think a lot of this is a courtesy thing, is think about how irritated you would be. And like that said, with no other, the intrusion thing, the voices and all that. It's like, if you're on a call with somebody, generally don't have it to where other people are going to come in and talk to you or, take your time away from it, because there's plenty of podcasts right now. Everybody who's listening to podcasts, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, because almost every podcast out there is doing it via Zoom or Skype or whatever now. And there's been a lot that I listen to that while they're talking, their kids come in, or, their spouse comes in and talks, and it's like, yo, why didn't you edit this out?
Mm-hmm. The one it's not with podcast or teleconferencing, but just obviously all like news programs right now are, people are remote, calling in through whatever service they're using. And the one that gets me a lot lately is home telephones going off in the background.
Yeah.
And they're so loud, and it is so unprofessional.
Yeah.
Like you are being called to, for whatever reason, you're a talking head, and you cannot mute your cell phone, at least, because you hear like notifications pop up.
Oh yeah.
But the telephone is like, ring. I'm like, oh Lord, I've literally just muted stuff before. I'm like, I don't even want to hear what you have to say right now, because it's so bad.
Well, not to mention like that, you're doing a news program, you're doing your job. So at that point,
that's it.
Everything else should be secondary for the moment until you're 5 minutes of your job, and then okay, now you can check your phone or whatever. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Like, it's just unbelievable how it happens more often than I'm blown away at how often it happens.
Yeah. There's two things that have always annoyed me, and it started with podcasting, but I've heard it now, given that you have people, like you were saying, people are doing things via, their home. And one of them is when they don't turn the sounds off on Skype. And while they're talking, you hear either someone's trying to call the person or they're just getting messaged or whatever. And it's like, come on, turn your sound off. And the other is, like you said, your cell phone. It happens. We've all probably done it where you're doing a podcast or whatever and you forget to turn your sound off. But there's some where I've heard it over and over and it's like, come on. And I've heard it on podcasts that have like producers. And I'm like, why isn't the producer at the beginning of the show going, hey guys,
it's like,
turn your phones off?
Yeah, you had one job.
Yeah. It's like, come on. You know, it's.
Oh, that's funny.
I've done that when we've done interviews for Salty Language, to where when we're talking to the person, I'll ask them. The two things I generally tend to ask a person before we start recording is, like, do you have earbuds, headphones, something like that, so that we don't get that weird feedback. And the second is, you know, can you turn or mute your phone? That way there's no, you know, you don't have those notices. Because to me, nothing's more irritating than the iPhone, I got a text, bing sound. Because I'm not going to lie, with my misophonia, that hurts my ears. And if your phone has it and it goes off right next to the microphone, I almost want to throw my headset because it hurts my ears. You know, also it's so piercing, it's annoying. You know, so just some tips for a lot of things. If you're doing therapy, make sure if you're doing it via your laptop, make sure your phone's on mute. And also something they didn't mention on there, which is if you're using your laptop for your therapy, put your phone away. You know, don't be on your phone while you're on therapy. You know,
yeah, that's a great point. That is a great
one.
point. Yeah.
You know, now if you're using your phone, it's a different story. But, you know, I mean, I guess the flip is also possible. If you're using your phone for your therapy, maybe stay off your laptop. You know, don't be like, you know, your therapist seeing in the reflection of your glasses that you're, you know, scrolling your mail
what
or
really watching.
Yeah, you're watching YouTube.
You're talking to.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
And I'm sure it happens. You know, because there's probably people sitting in their living room watching TV while they're doing it. You know, that's part of why I've done therapy via the phone a couple of times, and it's just not the same as going into the office. It's similar to like when you work. You know, like for me, if I go to work, I'm gonna get more done than if I work from home, because there's so many more distractions at home. And you feel more casual. You know, if I'm sitting around, I'm going to have the TV on. I'm going to, you know, maybe occasionally drift over to social media, all this. If I'm somewhere working, I'm not going to be doing any of that stuff. But at home, I will, because it's right in front of me and it's super easy. And, you know, maybe I'll go have a sandwich, you know. And I think kind of the same thing here. But like I said, all this comes back to courtesy. Is these kind of things, it's like, think about them ahead of time. It's like, would you appreciate it if somebody were doing these things to you? And if you wouldn't, then, you know, likewise. And consider that during your therapy time, treat it as a like professional environment, you know, to some extent. As far as the, you know, like I said, you know, don't eat while you're talking. Don't, you know, try to stay focused, be present. The therapists really don't ask a lot from you. They ask you to be present and forthcoming. That's basically all they ask of you.
That's true.
Right. That's about it.
You know,
that's true.
From there, it's a whole different story. Well, and probably, you know, wear pants. That's probably I read a thing a couple days ago or a day ago about that there's a teacher that actually had to send a message out to parents because of the remote learning, like, hey, please make sure you're appropriately dressed if you're going to be walking around in the background. Because I guess there's been some of people walking around in like their underwear and stuff. And it's like, hey, keep in mind, children are watching this. You know, this is, you know, like maybe let's at least throw some pants on. It's like, geez, It's so sad that somebody feels they have to make that statement. You know, like that should be a no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm very open when I'm going on conference calls and things like that. There's a public announcement in the household that I am going on.
You're going to work
now.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, as soon as it's over, I'm like, I am off conference call now.
Yeah.
So that everybody's aware that you don't go anywhere near my desk.
And I think that's the way to do it, for most of us, is, again, like I was saying, if you treat it like it's a professional environment kind of a thing, like, hey, I'm going to go do therapy. Basically, that's me telling you, leave me alone for an hour kind of a thing, and then whatever, unless it were an emergency or something, then it's different. Because, even in therapy, I've had my therapist have to take a phone call during a session because they literally had a person coming in that was like suicidal, So in those scenarios, I'm like, absolutely take that call, because I'm just here to bitch. That person is literally like on the doorstep of killing themselves. So of course, go take care of them. But if it was just, hey, honey, what do you want for dinner tonight? No, I would be very upset if they took that phone call. Like.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, is that, when it's treated professionally, I think, both sides, like don't treat it like you're two friends having a chit chat, because that's not what it is,
Well, guys, I think we did pretty good. What do you think?
Yep, fun was had.
Yeah, it was a thing.
We did this thing, and it was cool.
Thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, we covered a lot of ground on this episode, and we would love to hear from you, and you know how to do that. So, all right, ready? Here we go. You can reach us at thecrazylifepodcast.weebly.com is our website. Thecrazylifepodcast@outlook.com is our email address. If you would like to reach me direct, you can reach me via Twitter at Jen's Crazy Life. That's Jen with the G. You can also hear more from me if you'd like and listen to my other podcast, Shake the Sheets. It's a pop culture talk podcast. That was much harder than it should have ever had to been. And then I do with my co-host, Nate. All right, and Hanno, if they would like to reach you, how can they reach out to you?
Find me on Twitter at Ida Hanno. Find me on Facebook, Hanno Heiter. Same thing with Facebook Messenger. And you can also hear me on the Moving the Needle podcast, where, let's see what's coming up. Wow, I'm actually forgetting what we did last time that I haven't edited yet.
I don't know.
It'd be Bill and Ted.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think we've released it yet.
I don't think so. At least I don't remember seeing that one.
Yeah, next week will be Bill and Ted. Yeah, because it was just me, Roy. But what we recorded this last week, which was really fun, actually we just did last night, was RoboCop versus Starship Troopers, which are both films directed by Paul Verhoeven, who also did, what was it, Striptease and Showgirls, right? Yeah.
Now that's a
kind of went
comparison.
And before, it was RoboCop, and then it was Basic Instinct, and then it kind of started going downhill, and then it came back up again with
Showgirls?
Starship Troopers.
Oh, right.
With Showgirls, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That one. Oh, I'm missing one other one. There's the Schwarzenegger one, where he's in outer space or futuristic.
Oh,
Total Recall?
Yeah. Total Recall. That's it. Yes. Okay. He did that. Total Recall was after RoboCop.
Total Recall was pretty good. Solid movie.
Yeah. It wasn't bad.
Has its moments.
And yeah, we had a fun chat because everyone was mixed on which one they preferred.
Mm-hmm.
But the reasons were different. And it was a really fun chat. So that'll be cool. At the beginning of the month.
Okay.
Yeah,
Neat.
something like that.
Neat.
Second week of the month. Something like that. Anywho, check us out.
Yeah, do it. At MTN Pod on Twitter.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter at Stunami. You can find this show on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod, where I post when new episodes go up. But hopefully you don't need that because you're already subscribed. And please rate and review if you haven't already. We'd appreciate that. You can find my other podcast at salty_language on Twitter. That show is not safe for work. And it's just me and my best pal talking about just kind of whatever we think to talk about. You know, we talked about, you know, wrestling and video games this week and bumper stickers and a whole bunch of other silliness. So please check us out over there. And we're part of the Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com. So please go check out the other shows on the network. And, Facebook. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Crazy Life Podcast.
The Crazy Life Podcast.
That's a whole different,
Another show.
Whole different show. Yeah, it's
Different.
It's weird. me, Heno, and Jen all had to get our head shaved. It was a whole mess. Yeah, it was like, well, you know. Oh, jeez. I was doing so good too. I was firing through the rest. I was really, you know, I wasn't like I normally am. And then I just had to just big speed bump right in the middle of the road there. Jeez. And please, if you need help, please reach out. Just in my own life, I've heard of some people around that, you know, like a neighbor and some other people who've been dealing with someone in their life being suicidal and everything. And, you know, again, we're still in Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So if you feel you need help, please reach out. There's tons of help out there. There will be some links in the show notes if you need them. For NAMI.org. I'll have the one for Talkspace in there. And also, of course, it's Recovery Month. So recoverymonth.gov, the link for that's going to be in there if you are looking for info on that. So, you know, whatever it is, if it's affecting your life negatively, you know, odds are you're not alone and there's help out there or at least support out there. So please reach out and find it. And also, you know, if you know someone in your life is struggling a little bit, please reach out and make sure they're doing okay. And, you know, let them know that there's help for them also. Because not everybody knows that there's help out there. As sad as that is, there's all sorts of stuff out there, but you just have to go find it. And then, of course, you know, please practice kindness whenever you can. And just be nice to one another, because we're all struggling in our own ways. And, you know, just try to be empathetic to people and, you know, listen when they tell you there's suffering. You know, don't try not to compare and try not to just be, I don't know, you know, just try to be kind when you can and understanding.
You mean you don't say, well, what about me?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Right.
That's not part of the listening process. Gotcha.
Yeah. Or my favorite's always the, you know, hey, I'm going through this. Oh yeah, me too. You know, and it's like, but it isn't. It's like, yeah, I went through that last year. It's like, did you just hear what I said? Or are you just concerned about expressing like, what's going on here? So yeah, try to be understanding and helpful when you can, you know, and yeah, that's all I got.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, folks. Go out there, have the best week you possibly can, and remember, spread the love, not the COVID. Got it? And wiggle those toes. Have a good one.
Spread the not the COVID.